Hi everyone, hope you're good and well. So today I actually wanted to do something a bit different and actually talk about some of the makeup sponges that I use or that are available for an affordable price. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 within your site, and I have 2 more that I want to talk about. If you like what you see throughout the video, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss another video. Also, please do hit the thumbs up button if you do like it, because that just tells YouTube that you like my videos and it helps it get seen. So without further ado, let's get into it. So these makeup sponges are not in any particular order. I will say they're all under £5-6 or so. So the first one, or at least the most recognizable, the one that you probably know, most people know of, is the Real Techniques blending sponge. So this is what it looks like. I got mine as a duo, and this is the original makeup sponge. As you can see, it's bright orange, it has a slant, it's quite dense to the touch, but then when you wet it, it becomes really soft. The only thing with this particular sponge that I will say is that it's a bit porous. Okay, so where was I? So I just tried to adjust the camera so you can see a bit more clearly. So as you can see, it has a slant at the tip, and it also has the Real Techniques logo. As I said, it's quite firm, and one of the good things about this sponge is, despite it being firm when it's dry, when you do wet it, it becomes really soft. The only other thing about it is, because it's porous, it does absorb product a bit more than what I'd like. But apart from that, that's probably the only thing, that's the only thing I don't like about the sponge. So it definitely applies makeup really well. The only thing is it also eats some on the way as well. That's probably the only complaint I have about this, if we can stay focused. So this is an OG sponge. Everybody has tried it. I think most people that try it do like it. A few people don't, I suppose. But yeah, it's a really good sponge, and it's available in nearly all, if not in all drugstores. The only other thing about this is, like I said, I got mine as a duo. You can get it on its own, and that's about $4.99 or something thereabouts. This I got, I think, on offer, probably for, was it $7.99 on a website called justmylook.com. I think it might have been this time last year, probably around Black Friday or whatever. I'm not sure, but it was definitely on offer. So I think normally this normally sells for like $9.99 or something. But anyway, got this on offer, and I still I've saved this other one. I've been using this is my old beat up sponge, and as you can see, it's worn away quite a lot. I can't even use this really for much apart from maybe powder. Yes, I can't really use this to apply foundation now because it is so worn in. So this is on its way out. But yeah, so this is what I will be using in some videos to come. But yeah, it's definitely available, and it's a really good option. And next is an accidental find. So this product, this is a makeup sponge by the brand Nanshy, and I got it for $2.99 at TK Maxx. I got 2 of this. I'm pretty sure I've spoken about this in a previous video, or at least a video coming up, I'm not sure. The one I have used used quite a few times. I really like it because it's quite soft. So compared to my Real Techniques sponge, I feel like, actually, do they? I feel like this might actually have a bit more of a squishy kind of I don't know, a bit more of like a jelly type of feel to it. As you can see, it's not as porous, it's quite smooth, and when it does get wet as well, it becomes extremely soft. I love the cut of this as well. So as you can see, it's cut on both sides. It's got a flat bottom to it. That's a dent that's not supposed to be there. That's just a dent from being squashed in a container somewhere. So this is normally flat, and then you've got this bit at the tip as well, so you can use to kind of carve out your cheekbones, or to just I don't know, yeah, probably, yeah, that's what I'd use it for, to carve out my cheekbones. And every other side I'd use for foundation or for powder or for overall blending on this side, and probably this side as well. I'll try and make use of all sides. Oh yes, I really like this sponge. It applies both wet and dry really well, and I love the price point as well. It's $2.99. Of course it doesn't sell for $2.99 retail. This is like the TK Maxx price. I think I went on the website at one point before just to see what price it was, and I think it might have been maybe $6.99 or something. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I really like this sponge. This is, I want to say it's a close tie between this sponge and the next sponge I'm going to talk about, and that is this particular sponge. I've done a video on this. So this is the famous or infamous Juno & Co. Lookalike sponge. So this one is, so it's basically a microfiber velvet sponge, and it's really different in the way it feels. You can see it looks really fuzzy, and this particular brand, if I can remember what it's called, right, so as I was saying, so this microfiber sponge is from a UK brand called Sunday Ivy, and I discovered the brand on Instagram. It came up on my feed one day. So it comes, the first thing I love about it is the fact that it comes with its own travel container, which is very useful if you have used it, and just to keep it clean as well. It's a really sturdy case, and like I said, it's a microfiber sponge, so it's totally different from any other sponge you've ever seen. It's the only sponge like it. So the only thing is, obviously, because other brands have been able to this other brand has been able to make this sponge, I'm guessing, you know, it's not a patented product by Juno & Co. What I love about this is the fact that you really can get the best coverage from your foundation from this particular sponge. You can use it wet or dry. You get more coverage if you use it dry than you would if you used it wet, but to be honest, I don't tend to use it dry unless I'm feeling really lazy. I try to always wet this before I use it, and I just love the fact that it doesn't shear out my product and it doesn't eat up too much product as well. So out of all these out of all these makeup sponges, this is the least absorbent, and that's really a key selling point as well. So as you can see, it's cut on one side and it's mostly rounded except for the bottom. I'm guessing that's probably so it can stand up easily, but I probably would prefer if it was rounded on the bottom, because as you can see, there's a little dot right there in the center, if it would focus. Okay, so like I was saying, it has this kind of flat bottom and that little dot in the middle, which kind of bothers me because I'm not really sure what it's there for. But yeah, I would definitely prefer if the sponge was a bit more rounded in the bottom, just to make it a bit more easier just to use it to blend foundation. So I'm just a bit weirded out by that dot, because it just feels like it might just leave prints of that dot if I was to use this side of it on my face. But anywho, I like the way this foundation, I can't get foundation off my brain. I like the way this sponge applies foundation. I also like the fact that it expands really well. The only thing I don't like so much is the fact that it doesn't apply powder well when it's wet. You do not, and I repeat, you do not want to apply powder with this wet sponge. It gets caked up. Basically, you can apply it once, but you won't be able to apply it for the second time, because with a normal sponge I can probably get 2 or 3 powder applications when the sponge is wet, versus this just gets caked up in powder when it's wet. So if you want to use it, maybe keep one for powder and one for foundation, so then you can get a bit more use out of it. But if you go in with foundation first and then going with powder, you're just going to cake up all the little microfiber hairs on the sponge. But this, I would definitely say, would be between this and the Nanshy are my 2 favorite foundation applicators, makeup sponges, because they just do everything I want them to do without eating up all the product. So yeah, that's what I like most. I like a sponge that's soft enough to apply foundation and powder and doesn't eat up everything before it hits my face. So this sponge was, I think it was for £5, £6 maybe, and I think it was £6 or £5, one of the two. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, you can still get it on SundayIvory.com, or I also believe actually you can get the original Juno & Co sponge, Juno & Co sponge on Beauty Bay now, and I think that sells for like £4.50 or so. So yeah, you could definitely check it out and see which one you prefer, if there's any differences, but I don't think there are. So yeah, I really like this sponge, and I love the fact that it's blue as well. The only other thing I don't like is the fact that it does stain, and I feel like it's hard to get foundation out of it like every other sponge, but for some reason I thought this might be easier to wash off, maybe because of the microfibers, you know, because of the microfibers in it. It doesn't really wash as easily as I'd like, but eventually you will get all the foundation off it, unlike some of the other sponges I have which have been permanently stained. But yeah, those are the things I love about this particular sponge. And as a side note as well, so this is a little lesson that I've learned. You definitely cannot wash this sponge with a bar of soap. So if you've seen the video where I tested out the best methods of cleaning your makeup brushes, I tried using washing up liquid, oil, bar of soap, and a makeup cleansing bar, and baby shampoo. So every other method worked apart from the bar of soap. So I used the Johnson baby oil soap or something, and all the hairs on this sponge matted up. So let me just bring it, and it also kind of darkened as well. It's really weird. So hope you can see. Okay, so just as a word to the wise, this is what happens when you wash your microfiber sponge with the bar of soap. So yeah, you don't want to do that. I also ended up ripping it as well, so this was a casualty for me, and it really peed me off because I'd only used this sponge for a few goes before this happened. So yeah, you can't wash this sponge with the bar of soap. If that's how you wash your makeup sponges, or if you've heard of that trick and you want to do it, you can't do it with this particular sponge. But yeah, just so thought I'd let you know. So next I wanted to talk about the cheapest sponge I have here. So this is a sponge that I got from Poundland, and I have featured this in another video. I can't remember which one it is now, but I featured this in a few videos ago. So this sponge actually reminds me of the Sonia Kashuk sponge that we've seen. I mean, if you're in the UK, you can't get your hands on this sponge, but in the US, you can definitely see the resemblance. So I just love the print of the sponge. I was just browsing through my Poundland, just getting my cleaning products or whatever, one day when I noticed this sponge in the makeup section. So I grabbed it because I think at the time, because obviously it's sold in a box as it is, so you can't really see what it feels like until you get home. So I got it, took it out of the packet, and obviously squeezing it, you can feel that it's a bit dense. It's not the most dense sponge I have got from them, or from like say Primark for instance, but this particular sponge is slightly denser than all the other sponges I've talked about. The only good thing about it is that when you do wet it, especially under like warm water, it does soften up quite a bit. It softens up a bit for you to use it on your face. It's still not as soft as any of these other sponges I've spoken about, but it's definitely soft enough to use. So, and it's, you know, it's £1, so you get what you pay for. But I do love just the print of it, and I love the fact that it's like the typical beauty blender shape, so you can use all sides, and yeah, you get quite a bit of use out of it. The only thing I don't like is the fact that it does stain, because obviously it's mainly white and grey, and if you think of how easy it is for a brown foundation to stain this, it is very easy. So that's the only thing I don't like about this. And yeah, it does soften off quite a bit, especially for a £1 sponge as well. I really do like it. So if you do still see this in your local Poundland, or you want to go see if it's there, definitely give it a go. I just love the print of this. It's really nice, and it comes in a cute little box as well if you want to use this as part of like a little gift set for someone. Yeah, so that's what I like about it. Lastly, two other sponges which I wanted to talk about. So these are sponges that I have used and cleaned. So these two sponges, so this one is from Makeup Revolution. It's one of their older sponges, and I think it comes in a hard and soft version. This is the soft version. I got two of it, and I just think the shape is so unusual, but what I really like about it is the fact that it's not too porous. So like the Nanshy, like this Nanshy sponge, this one is also of a very similar material. So as you can see, it's not very porous at all, so it just gives you a really smooth makeup application. It has a sharp point on both sides, so you can definitely use this to bake or to apply powder or to cut your cheekbones. And it also has the point as well, so you can really get into the corners of your under eye area. The only thing that you can see here is the staining of foundation. So that's the only problem I have with this light color, because obviously if it was black, that would be like the perfect thing, because you know you'd never see a makeup stain on it because it's black. So that's the only thing with this. It looks a bit ugly when it is stained, but it does apply makeup really well, and it swells up as well. So when you use it wet or dry, you can, I mean, I don't have any problems using it wet and dry, to be honest, because it's reasonably soft when it's dry, but when it's wet as well, it just becomes really soft and really easy to use. It's one of the better affordable drugstore sponges out there, and I think it's about, is it £3 or £2.50, something thereabouts as well. I don't have the pack because obviously I have used it for quite a while now, so you can definitely check out on the Makeup Revolution website and see if it's still there. So lastly, I wanted to talk about a sponge that is not like any of the other sponges. Again, like the Juno & Co dupe sponge, the microfiber velvet sponge. This one is by L'Oreal. So I remember buying this when they came out with their what do you call it, the stick foundation. I can't remember what it's called, and I think it's one of the I think it's part of the Infallible range. I'm not entirely sure. But this particular sponge is a L'Oreal sponge, and it's the first time I've ever bought like a truly drugstore brand sponge. And what I first like about it is the fact that it's black. Now, unlike the other sponges, so at the time that the particular foundation range launched, I think in the US they had a different type of sponge, and everyone was raving about the makeup sponge that came with the foundation stick and everything. This is the one they launched in the UK. Yeah, it's quite dense indeed. It is very dense. The only thing I like, or I think is quite different about this particular sponge, is I guess the fact that it becomes a bit like jelly-like. It's so weird. When it gets wet, it becomes quite jelly-like. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a really interesting texture to it. I like the fact that when it does get wet, it does become a bit softer, but it's still not like soft enough for you to. It's not soft as any of these sponges that I've talked about, first of all. So I feel like a sponge like this would probably be better to kind of apply powder, or to maybe blend your contour, or just to like cut your cheekbones, or if you don't mind applying your foundation with a slightly harder sponge, then you can definitely still use this. But I feel like this is one of those sponges where you can feel it as you're pouncing it on your face, so you're literally beating your face with the sponge. This is one of those sponges, so it's a bit too dense for me to recommend, but it's definitely a good one to apply powder with, baby. And I love the fact that it's black, so I feel like L'Oreal, I'm not sure who came first, maybe it was L'Oreal or Beauty Blender, because obviously Beauty Blender now have a black makeup sponge, which is just revolutionary. I love that idea because, you know, you never see a single foundation stain on your sponge as long as it's black. So yeah, I do like this for the just for the color itself, and that's the only thing I would say I like about it, and the fact that it has this interesting jelly like squishy texture when it's wet. So it's not the best for applying foundation, not because it doesn't apply it well, it's just because of it feeling quite firm on your face as you're pouncing it on your face. It does actually apply foundation really well, but not the application process. It's like, I'm not sure if I'm making sense. So because it's quite hard, you don't want to be, you know, pouncing it on your face the way you would a normal soft sponge. So you can probably use this to kind of swipe foundation, and also because of the texture, I don't feel like it absorbs a lot of product, that eats a lot of product as well, which is really, really good. So it's an interesting product. I don't even know if it's still out there or available. You might be able to find it on eBay if you really want to try it, but they had it around the time when they launched the Infallible foundation sticks. I keep calling it Infallible foundation sticks, and I hope it is called that, but I did do a video on that particular foundation as well. So I'm not sure if I used this particular sponge, and I think I might have forgotten that I had it at the time. But anyway, so this is just an interesting sponge, mainly because of the texture, and also because I just think it's one of those sponges that will last and last because it's not extremely porous. I feel like I'm out of focus again. So it's not extremely porous, it's just a really smooth type of almost yeah, it's just almost jelly like. But yeah, so those are all the affordable foundation sponges that I have, and this one, I think, was it like, I think it was part of the 3 for 2, so I didn't actually pay for this. Yeah, I didn't pay for this sponge, or was it a free gift? But I think I did notice that they were selling it for like, I don't know, $9.99 or $7.99, one of those prices at the time. So let me know if you can still find this, or if you know of this sponge, or if you remember seeing it at the time when they launched, when L'Oreal launched their foundation sticks. But yeah, so this is it. I just thought I'd talk about a few affordable options out there for you if you don't have beauty blender money like me. And oh, I say this is the last option, right? So let's not forget about something else. So this is what started off this whole sponge application process. Do you remember these? Do you remember these OG triangular makeup sponges? And these are like the best thing ever, really, for those days when you just want to have a quick makeup application. You don't even need any of those sponges. And this whole pack, this was the pack that I got from Poundland. I love the texture of this. It's so squishy, it's soft, and you just get so many different shapes in here. So you get this shape, and you also get something I didn't even notice at the time. You get black makeup sponges also. Yeah, I mean, these are like the OG makeup sponges, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. You certainly don't even need to spend money on any of these type of makeup sponges. If you have this already, this will do the job, and it will do it pretty well. I do know some of these different types of makeup sponges do absorb products a bit more than they should, but these ones I've actually found they've been fine. So again, these are from Poundland. I don't know if they still have this particular collection, because you know how Poundland always change up their product range, but yeah, you might want to check it out anyway. So yeah, I just wanted to say, so this, obviously this whole pack is £1, so this beats all the other sponges I've just spoken about in terms of price, and in terms of application, I don't have a single problem with them. They're all really, really good. So yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know. So these are available, and they're all under £6, I want to say. Yeah, definitely all under £6. So that is it, my friends. Let me know if you've tried any of these sponges, what you think. And if you haven't, will you actually go out and buy any of these, or are you just a brush girl? I mean, are you not here for any of this sponge nonsense at all, and are you just a brush girl? You don't want to know anything about sponges, you don't want to hear about sponges, you don't want to see a single sponge? Let me know. Just leave your comments down below. But until next time, stay blessed. I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.